What you possess inside your mind is more valuable than all the gold reserves in every bank across this planet. I want you to understand something profound. Today you were born with the most sophisticated technology ever created, your mind. Inside that mind lies a power so magnificent, so extraordinary, that it can literally transform every aspect of your existence. I've traveled across this world, and everywhere I go, I meet people who are living far below their potential. Why? Because they've allowed their minds to become a prison of negative thoughts. But today, right here, right now, I'm going to share something that will revolutionize your understanding of who you are and what you're capable of achieving. Your thoughts are not just random occurrences floating through your consciousness. They are seeds that grow into the forest of your reality. Every single thought you entertain becomes a blueprint for your future. When you wake up in the morning, that first thought you allow to take root determines the direction of your entire day. Imagine your mind as the most powerful broadcasting station in the universe. Every second of every day, it's transmitting signals that are shaping your reality. The question is not whether you're broadcasting. The question is, what are you broadcasting? Many of you sitting here today have been programmed. Yes, programmed. Programmed by your past experiences, programmed by other people's opinions, programmed by your failures, programmed by your fears. But I came here today to announce that you are not a victim of your programming. You are the programmer. The transformation I'm talking about isn't something that happens to you. It's something that happens through you. Your mind wasn't designed to be a storage facility for negative thoughts. It was designed to be a factory of possibilities, a generator of solutions, a creator of realities. Right now, in this moment, there's someone here who's been telling themselves, I can't, someone who's been saying it's too late, someone who's been thinking, I'm not good enough, that stops today. Those thoughts that have been holding you hostage, they're about to be evicted. The power to transform your life doesn't lie in your circumstances. It doesn't lie in your bank account. It doesn't lie in your background or your education. The power lies in your ability to take control of your thoughts. And when you understand this principle, truly understand it, you'll realize that you've been sitting on a gold mine of potential all along. But this is just the beginning. What I'm about to share with you next will show you exactly how these negative thoughts took root in your mind. And more importantly, why they've been able to maintain their grip on your life for so long. Because until you understand the nature of what you're dealing with, you cannot effectively eliminate it. Every single person in this room started their life with a clean mental slate. You weren't born doubting yourself. You weren't born afraid of failure. You weren't born thinking you weren't good enough. These thoughts, these limitations, they were downloaded into your mental software through experiences, through environments, through encounters that shaped your perception of reality. If these thoughts were downloaded, they can be deleted. But first, you must understand how deeply these negative patterns have embedded themselves into your daily existence. Negative thoughts operate like parasites. They enter your mind through an experience, maybe a failure, maybe someone's criticism, maybe a disappointment. Then they begin to multiply. They feed on every similar experience. They grow stronger with every confirmation. Before you know it, they've built an entire kingdom in your mind. And you've become their loyal subject. Your life right now, everything you see around you is a physical manifestation of your thought patterns. The job you have, the relationships you're in, the money in your bank account, even your health, all of these are reflecting the thoughts you've been thinking consistently. When you wake up in the morning and your first thought is, I hate my job, that thought creates a chemical reaction in your body. That chemical reaction affects your posture. your facial expressions, your energy levels. People at work respond to these physical cues, which reinforces your negative experience, which then strengthens your original thought. It's a cycle, but not just any cycle, it's a downward spiral. The cost of negative thinking is far greater than most people realize. It's not just about feeling bad. Negative thoughts are literally stealing your future. They're robbing you of opportunities because they've convinced you not to try. They're destroying your relationships because they've persuaded you not to trust. They're killing your dreams because they've programmed you to settle for less. I've seen brilliant minds trapped in mediocre positions because negative thoughts convinced them they didn't deserve better. I've witnessed talented individuals who never started their businesses because negative thoughts told them they would fail. I've observed beautiful people staying in toxic relationships because negative thoughts whispered they couldn't find better. Do you know what's the most expensive thing in the world? It's not diamonds, it's not gold, it's the thoughts you choose to believe about yourself. Because those thoughts determine what you'll attempt, or what you'll pursue, what you'll create. And ultimately, what you'll become. What happens when you entertain a negative thought first? It affects your mood. Then it influences your decisions. Those decisions lead to actions or often inaction. These actions, or lack thereof, create your circumstances. And then these circumstances reinforce your original negative thought. It's a perfect trap. A prison built by your own mind. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. You are the controller of your thoughts. This distinction is crucial because it means you have the power to change everything. The thoughts that have been torturing you, limiting you, holding you back, they're squatters in your mind. They've been living rent-free in your mental real estate, destroying your property value. And it's time to serve them an eviction notice. And this brings us to something absolutely critical, understanding the principle of mental freedom. Because once you've grasped this principle, once you truly internalize it, you realize that breaking free from negative thoughts isn't just possible, it's your natural state of being. Your mind was designed for freedom, designed for growth, designed for unlimited possibilities. Mental freedom isn't just about getting rid of negative thoughts. It's about establishing a new order in your mind, creating a new system of thinking that serves your highest potential. And that's exactly what we're going to explore next. The most fundamental right you have as a human being isn't written in any constitution. It's the right to choose your thoughts. You were born with this power, this incredible ability to select what you think about, what you focus on, what you believe. But somewhere along the way, most people surrendered this power. They handed over the keys to their mental kingdom to circumstances, to other people's opinions, to past failures. Mental freedom isn't the absence of negative thoughts. It's the ability to observe these thoughts and say, not today. You have no authority here. It's like standing at the door of your mind with complete authority to decide what gets to enter and what must leave. Most people are walking around with their minds on autopilot. Their thoughts are like wild horses running in whatever direction fear and doubt lead them. But mental freedom begins the moment you realize you're not the horse, you're the rider. You have the reins in your hands. You decide which direction your thoughts will go. I want you to understand something profound about your mind. It wasn't designed to be a storage facility for fears, doubts, and limitations. Your mind was designed to be a creation factory. It's supposed to be generating solutions, creating opportunities, producing excellence. When you understand this, you realize that negative thinking isn't just uncomfortable, it's unnatural. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what you consistently imagine. When you constantly think about failure, your brain releases the same stress hormones as if you were actually failing. When you consistently think about success, your brain releases the same chemicals it would if you were actually succeeding. This is why mental freedom is your birthright. You were born with the ability to direct your mental energy toward whatever you choose. No one can force you to think negatively. It's always a choice. Even when it doesn't feel like one. Every morning when you wake up, you have 86.400 seconds in your day. Each one of those seconds is an opportunity to direct your thoughts. Each moment is a chance to exercise your mental freedom. But most people never claim this freedom because they don't understand how powerful it is. The science behind thought transformation is fascinating when you consistently direct your thoughts in a particular direction. You're actually creating new neural pathways in your brain. It's like cutting a new path through a dense forest. The first time is the hardest. But each time you walk that path, it becomes clearer, easier to follow. Every time you choose not to entertain a negative thought, you're actually weakening its neural pathway. You're literally reducing its power over you. This isn't just positive thinking, this is strategic thinking. This is scientific thinking. Mental freedom isn't just about feeling better, it's about accessing your full potential. When your mind is free from negative patterns, you start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You start finding solutions where others see problems. You start creating success where others predict failure. The moment you decide to claim your mental freedom, every negative thought in your mind will rise up to challenge you. They'll try to convince you that you can't change, that this is just who you are, that you're stuck with them. This resistance isn't a sign that you're failing, it's a sign that you're winning. It's a sign that you're disrupting the old order in your mind. And this is where we need to move from understanding to action. Because mental freedom isn't just a concept to be understood, it's a power to be exercised. This is why you need to understand the 7 fundamental laws of mental transformation. These laws aren't just theories, they're practical tools that will help you establish and maintain your mental freedom. The power to transform your mind isn't complicated, but it is specific, just like gravity. These laws work whether you believe in them or not. When you understand them, when you apply them, they become the keys to unlocking your mental freedom. Let's start with the law of awareness. This law states that you cannot change what you don't acknowledge. Most people walking around right now don't even realize the thoughts they're thinking. They're like someone sitting in a room with the lights off, wondering why they can't see. Awareness is turning on the light. You must become conscious of your thought patterns. When a negative thought enters your mind, you must catch it, label it, identify it. Don't let it sneak past your mental security system. But awareness alone isn't enough. Which brings us to the law of choice. This is where your power lies. Every time a thought enters your mind, you have the power to choose whether to accept it or reject it. Most people don't realize they're making these choices. They think thoughts just happen to them. But I'm telling you right now, you are not a victim of your thoughts. You are a chooser of your thoughts. Where many people get stuck. They try to stop negative thoughts without replacing them with something else. This violates the law of replacement. Nature abhors a vacuum. You can't just empty your mind of negative thoughts. You must fill it with positive ones. When you remove a negative thought about your abilities, immediately replace it with a positive truth about your potential. When you catch yourself thinking about failure, immediately redirect your mind to think about success. But here's the key. It's not enough to do this once or twice. This is where the law of repetition comes in. Your current thought patterns didn't develop overnight. They were created through repetition. And they can only be changed through repetition. You must repeat your new positive thoughts until they become your default setting, until they become your natural way of thinking. Your environment will either reinforce your transformation or resist it. This is the law of environment. The people you spend time with, the media you consume, the conversations you engage in, all of these are either feeding your negative thoughts or starving them. You must create an environment that supports your mental transformation. If you're trying to develop positive thoughts while surrounding yourself with negative people, you're trying to plant flowers in a desert. Now, many people understand these laws but fail to apply them. They're waiting to feel different before they act different. But this violates the law of action. You must act in alignment with your new thoughts. If you're thinking thoughts of confidence but acting with insecurity, you're sending mixed signals to your brain. Your actions must match your desired thoughts. When you act confident, you reinforce confident thoughts. When you act successful, you strengthen successful thinking. And finally, we come to the law of persistence. This is where most people fail. They start strong but give up when they face resistance. But listen to me, resistance is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of progress. When negative thoughts push back, when old patterns try to reassert themselves, this is not the time to quit. This is the time to persist. This is when transformation is happening. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine you're trying to transform thoughts of I can't into thoughts of I can. The law of awareness helps you recognize when I can't thoughts appear. The law of choice empowers you to reject these thoughts. The law of replacement guides you to substitute I can thoughts. The law of repetition ensures you do this consistently. The law of environment prompts you to surround yourself with I can people and influences. The law of action pushes you to act as if you can, even before you fully believe it. And the law of persistence keeps you going until I can becomes your natural thought pattern. These laws work together. They support each other. They reinforce each other. But here's what's crucial to understand. You don't have to perfect them all at once. Start with awareness. Build to choice. Move to replacement. Each step builds on the previous one. The transformation of your mind is not an event, it's a process. It's like building a muscle. Each repetition makes you stronger. Each choice builds your mental fitness. Each action reinforces your new thinking patterns. And this brings us to something critically important, how to actually implement these laws in your daily life. Because understanding these laws isn't enough. You need practical strategies to apply them. Listen carefully, the revolution in your life will not begin with a major event. It begins with a decision. A decision that says, from this moment forward, my mind belongs to me. This is not just a statement, it's a declaration of independence from every negative thought that has ever held you captive. Taking ownership of your mind means understanding something fundamental. You are not the product of your past thoughts. You are the creator of your future thoughts. This very moment, as you're sitting here, you have the power to say, enough. These thoughts no longer have permission to control my life. Every successful person you admire had to go through this exact same process. They weren't born with perfect thinking patterns. They had to consciously decide to take control of their mental territory. They had to establish new borders, new rules, new standards for what they would allow themselves to think about. When you take ownership of your mind, you stop being a tenant in your own life and become the owner. Would you allow someone to walk into your house and rearrange your furniture without your permission? Of course not. So why do you allow negative thoughts to walk into your mind and rearrange your mood, your confidence, your sense of possibility, Creating new thought patterns isn't about forcing yourself to think positively. It's about training your mind to think accurately. When a negative thought says you can't do this, accuracy says I haven't done it yet, but I can learn. When a negative thought says nobody believes in you, accuracy says I believe in myself. And that's where success begins. This is where the power of decisive moments comes in right now. In this moment, you have the power to decide. Every time a negative thought appears, you face a decisive moment. Will you entertain it? Or will you evict it? Will you believe it or will you challenge it? These moments might seem small, but they are the building blocks of your transformation. You must understand every thought that enters your mind is either moving you toward your potential or away from it. There is no neutral thinking. Just like a ship at sea, if you're not intentionally steering toward your destination, you're drifting away from it. Your brain has what scientists call neuroplasticity, the ability to form new neural connections throughout your life. This means that no thought pattern is permanent unless you make it permanent through repetition. You can literally rewire your brain through conscious, consistent choice. But what makes this even more exciting, you don't have to wait for your feelings to change before you change your thinking. You can decide right now to think differently, and your feelings will eventually catch up with your decisions. This is why I say it's a revolution, because it's an overthrow of the old order in your mind. Every great achievement in human history began with a thought. The airplane, the telephone, the computer, they all started as thoughts in someone's mind. Your future achievements, your future success, your future breakthroughs, they're all waiting to be born through your thoughts. The revolution in your mind creates a revolution in your life. When you change how you think about yourself, you change how you carry yourself. When you change how you think about possibilities, you change what you attempt. When you change how you think about challenges, you change how you respond to them. And this is where we move from revolution to implementation. Because taking ownership of your mind isn't a one-time event, it's a daily practice. You need specific strategies, practical tools that you can use every single day to maintain and strengthen your mental transformation. Now, I want to give you practical tools that you can use starting today, not tomorrow, not next week. But the moment you leave this room, because transformation without implementation is just information, and information alone has never changed anyone's life. The first thing you must do every morning before you check your phone, before you turn on the news, before you do anything else, is to set your mental frequency. Take 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, to direct your thoughts intentionally. I want you to speak your future into your present. Don't just think about what you want to achieve, declare it. Your mind responds to the authority of your voice. Throughout your day, practice what I call thought interruption. When you catch a negative thought entering your mind, interrupt it immediately. Don't negotiate with it. Don't analyze it. Stop it in its tracks. Replace it instantly with the truth about your potential. This isn't positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. This is warfare against the thoughts that have been holding you back. Create what I call mental triggers, specific phrases or words that instantly redirect your thinking. When you feel doubt creeping in, have a phrase ready. I am equipped for this challenge. When fear tries to paralyze you, I move forward with confidence. These aren't just words, they're weapons in your mental arsenal. You must understand your environment is either working for you or against you. There is no neutral environment. Look at the people you spend most of your time with. Are they feeding your potential or feeding your doubts? Look at what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're listening to. Is it strengthening your new thought patterns or weakening them? You need to create what I call success zones, physical spaces where negative thinking isn't allowed. It might be a corner of your room, your car during your commute, or your desk at work. In these zones, you only engage in thoughts that align with your potential. Build a mental library of success stories, not just other people's stories, but your own. Every time you overcome a challenge, every time you prove a negative thought wrong, document it. These become your evidence against future negative thoughts. When your mind says you can't, your evidence says, but I already did. Now, about building support systems, this is crucial. You need what I call mind allies, people who understand what you're doing and support your transformation. People who will call you out when you speak against your potential. People who will remind you of your capability when you forget. Create daily checkpoints, specific times during your day when you assess your thinking. Just like you check your phone's battery. Check your mental battery. Are you running on positive power or negative drainage? This isn't about being perfect, it's about being aware and making adjustments. Practice mental rehearsal before any important event. Any challenging situation, rehearse it in your mind with the outcome you want. Your brain doesn't know the difference between vivid imagination and actual experience. Use this to your advantage. Program success into your mind before you step into the situation. Create what I call a victory journal every night before you sleep. Write down 3 victories from your day. They don't have to be big victories. Maybe you caught a negative thought and changed it. Maybe you took action despite fear. This trains your mind to look for success instead of failure. Remember, this implementation without consistency is like trying to get fit by going to the gym once a month. These strategies must become as natural as breathing. They must become your new normal, your new way of operating. And this brings us to something crucial. Your future is not determined by the thoughts you have occasionally, but by the thoughts you entertain consistently. These strategies are your tools for ensuring that the thoughts you entertain align with the future you desire. Right now, in this moment, you stand at the threshold of a new reality. Not a reality that someone else created for you, but a reality that you are about to create through the power of your transformed mind. Everything you've heard today isn't just information, it's activation. It's the blueprint for your mental revolution. Look at yourself 6 months from now walking with a different confidence, speaking with a different authority, living with a different purpose. This isn't just possible, it's inevitable when you take control of your thoughts. The person you were meant to be has been waiting for you to make this decision, waiting for you to claim your mental territory. Transformation isn't a future event, it's a present moment choice. The question isn't, will I change my thinking? The question is, will I begin right now? Every moment you wait is a moment you give to those old negative patterns. Every second you hesitate is a second you loan to those limiting beliefs. Starting tomorrow is a lie your negative thoughts tell you to maintain their control. The only time you have the power to change your thinking is right now. This moment, this instant. Your old thoughts are already nervous because they know their time is up. They know you're about to evict them. I want you to make a decision right now. Put your hand on your head and declare, this is my territory. These are my thoughts. This is my future. Feel the power of that declaration. Feel the authority in your own voice. This isn't just words. This is you claiming your birthright of mental freedom. Remember, you're not trying to become someone new. You're deciding to be who you were created to be. The negative thoughts were the imposters. The limitations were the foreigners. You're not just changing your thinking, you're returning to your original design. From this moment forward, every time a negative thought tries to enter your mind, it must face a new authority you. Every time doubt tries to speak, It must confront and new power you every time fear tries to paralyze you. It must deal with a new force you. Your transformed life isn't waiting for you in some distant future. It's waiting for you in your next thought, in your next decision, in your next action. The power isn't in what you're going to do tomorrow. The power is in what you're going to do right now. Stand up. Right now, stand up. Because when you physically stand, you're making a declaration to your mind. You're saying, I am not a victim of my thoughts. I am the master of my thoughts. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your transformation. Take this message. Take these principles. Take these strategies and go create the life you were born to live. The world is waiting for the person you become when you free your mind from negative thoughts. Your destiny is waiting for the person you become when you think according to your potential. Now go. Go with power. Go with purpose. Go with the unshakable knowledge that your greatest life begins with your next thought.